Hello, friends and beautiful people. It is Kathryn. Hello, hello, hello. Let's see, I'm going to share this in a few places. But welcome to today's talk. Remember who the fuck you are and why you're here. Okay, let's see. I'm going to share this in a few groups. There I am. So let's get that sorted. I'm going to share to my feed. And I'm going to share in a couple groups. So if you are watching in my Visionaries group, hello. You're in there now. I know we've got some people joining, so say hello. Let me know you're here. I'm going to share in my Tao of the Divine Disruptor mentorship group. There you are. And one final place. Hi, Shantae. And then we will get into it. What do you say? So you might want to have some water. For this, there we go. And in the Lotus Throne, initiation for spirit-led visionary women. Hello. Happy Tuesday, or whenever you're watching. Hello. Those of you who do not know me yet, you are not part of my orbit. My name is Kathryn Missel. I am a New Earth visionary. I'm an elevated consciousness coach, author, speaker, course creator, program and content creator, mentor, all the things. But what I am mostly is someone who has, hi Shay, been doing this work for quite a while now. My first brick and mortar enterprise, where I actually was doing in-person work, was 20 years ago, over 20 years ago. And I had been dabbling in this about 5 years before that. I know it's Shay. Hello, hello. And I have been doing this for 2 decades plus. And I've been around for a while. And I've seen and experienced so many changes in this industry, so much flux in the spiritual marketplace. I've seen people come and go. I've seen what makes people come and go. I've seen people think of this as a get-rich-quick thing, which always makes me laugh. I've seen people who are coming in really with a slow trickle with their energy, but have been here for a long time. This is such a dynamic time in this industry to be doing this work and to take our visionary level of creativity to a different echelon, to a different threshold. And those of us who are really called to this level of service, we're feeling it. We're feeling challenged. We're feeling like I'm out of resources. Some of us, not all of us. Some of us are starting to question, God, why did I do that? Why did I do this? Why did I set myself up for this? Can I do it? Do I have staying power? Am I in this for the long haul? Am I able to hold this level of support for other people in my community, not just for myself, but for the people in my community? We're asking the deeper questions. We're trying to figure out what it is that makes us tick. Maybe it was different when we first started out and we had different reasons for doing this kind of work, and We may be questioning all of it. We might be figuring out that we're actually here to do something different and take our life and our work in a different direction. So I want to talk today about bringing that inspiration back. That whatever it is that we're here to do, whatever it is that we're here to share, and this is specifically for those of you who are feeling like you're throwing everything at it right now, like you're just throwing spaghetti at the wall. You're like, I don't know what I'm fucking doing. I'll throw everything at it because, man, I just don't know. I don't know what to do. Things aren't working like they used to. I feel pushed. I feel crunched. I feel contracted. I feel like I'm maybe out of resources. It's never about the resources. And I'm going to talk about that. You always have the resources. It's not ever that you are out of resources. It is that you are not in the space of creativity. Okay? We will talk about that today. But those of you who are feeling like, this worked for a while in what I was doing, what I was offering, but it's just not working anymore. It just suddenly just stopped. It suddenly, the momentum stopped, my drive, my inspiration stopped. Hello, Maria. So this is for you. And this is especially for those of you who are in service to the planet and you're asking to be of greater service to your community. Those people who are in your orbit, those people who sign up for your offers, those people who sign up for your programs, your long-term and short-term containers, your one-on-one work, your group work, your free Facebook group. There are dynamic changes happening, and for those of you who are really struggling and scratching your heads about what the frig is going on, it's not about trying to figure it all out outside of you, but it is figuring out where the energetics do not match up inside of you. Okay? And it is also about coming to grips with the fact that it is go time. It's go time. It is go time for us. Those who are here to help people step into their next level. Those of us who are here to help people step into the fullness of their spiritual evolution and embrace it, grow it, expand it, and be a ripple and a beacon of light for others in their orbit. We're in go time. No doubt about it. It's time to step up. It's time to expand in and out. And it's never, ever, ever about expanding out first. It's about expanding inward first. Because the energetics can't match up. You can't calibrate, in other words, to the expansion outside of you if you're not willing to set those energetics right and get it right within you first. It's an inner shift, always. Before we enter our next threshold, our next level of growth, it is an inner shift that must take hold and be a sustainable energy level to be able to grow, maintain, expand anything that we build outside of us. Okay? This is a hard one lesson for me. So I'm going to go into a story because I have to tell you how I came about this information, what I'm going to share with you, and this wisdom that was like when it finally landed, it was just like, duh. It was like, I call it the shakabuku, which is a Eastern religion or an Eastern spirituality ethos of a spiritual swift kick to the head. That's what that basically means. So I have to tell you a story. So those of you who are in my orbit and you're in my communities, you've heard this story, so this might be a good time to go get some water if you don't want to hear it again. But I need to preface all of this with how I arrived at it. What was the process of me arriving at this. So at the end of 2021, I was wrapping up some programs that I was teaching, and I had just come off the last teaching of my In Alignment program and talking about the energetics of, being able to develop a level of inner trust, develop a level of trusting and believing in yourself, and knowing that you are your own rescue, basically. And being able to set the energetics of that right within you. So very similar to what I'm talking about here. But what I'm talking about here today goes much deeper than that. And I was just coming off of teaching this program, and things, for brevity's sake, I'll just say things started to fall apart pretty quickly. My sales dropped off quite abruptly. The people in my communities just were not around. I'm not going to say they were ghosting me, because I'm not trying to put it on them, but the people who would come to my lives or my free stuff or be, part of my programs, like that just it dropped off like gangbusters. I started really looking at what I was doing, like, why is that happening? Where is everybody? I started to feel very uninspired by what I was teaching, starting to get really sick of the sound of my own voice. I didn't want to do any of my work. I was feeling no momentum, no drive, no motivation. And for someone who's a prolific content creator, just nothing. Just dial tone in my head. That's what it felt like. And this energy carried over, and I'm like, it's just funky. It's the end of year. It's the Christmas blues, anticipating the new year, and, coming off of the feelings of, the post-COVID debacle and everything that happened with that, and feeling that level of not being sure about anything, not being sure about your life or your business and all those things, even though I don't get too bogged down and anxious about those things, because I know it all gets sorted. It all works out. It's all okay. I was feeling that too. And I was going into 2022 and my 50th birthday, which was January 19th of this year, feeling really unsure, very insecure, questioning everything I was doing, feeling so riddled with doubt, really empty inside. Nothing that was happening was good enough. I couldn't appreciate it. I didn't have any gratitude. I had a really, really lousy disposition about just about everything, my life and my business, and feeling really woe is me and throwing a pity party for myself, which is not characteristic of me at all. If I notice, my energy slumping, I've got, with over 20 years of doing this business, I have a full spiritual toolbox of things that I can do to get me out of a funk. And I've got guided journeys. I've got meditation practices. I have a whole slew and an arsenal of things. None of it was working. None of it. It got so bad, and I was confiding in my friend Romina quite a bit. And I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to go work at McDonald's. $18 an hour. Fuck it. I'm just going to go do it. I can't do it anymore. I felt so frustrated. I felt really empty. I felt a complete lack of motivation. And, I was confiding in a few people, and they're like, well, Chiron's return, and you're turning 50, and this is a big point in your life, and it's planetary. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's not the sum total of who we are. I mean, those things might, lend themselves to what was going on, but that's not the end all be all, because that's not what's happening with the planets. Isn't the sum total of who you are ever. We can look to it for guidance to, maybe figure out a few things here and there, but it was bigger than that. It wasn't like a planetary thing. It was, yes, that I was turning 50 and starting to really evaluate and assess and do a pretty major sweeping life review, and all these things were true, but I just couldn't get my energy right. I could not get my mind right. So deep in the muck and the mire of self-distrust and just questioning everything. And I couldn't even look at what I had built. I haven't held a job working for someone else since, when was it? 2011 was the last time, because I was doing some consulting work and I was doing some bartending. So in 11 years, I had not worked for someone else, but I was like, I'm going to go work at McDonald's. Hi, Anne. So my good friend Romina, she talked me off that ledge. She's like, don't do it. Don't do it. And I was like, of course I'm not going to do it. What am I going to do? Flip burgers and mind the fryer while I'm talking about timeline insertions and the false matrix to my coworkers? They'll fire me and they'll put me, you know, in a hug me jacket and carry me away to the nearest mental facility. But, you know, I could joke about it, but here I was really stuck. I was really stuck. And I had all these programs that I was going to teach, and I had, you know, my commitments to my clients, my one-on-one clients, my people in my group programs who were signing up for things and already excited about the things that we were going to do in January and February. I had a mentorship planned, which I'm still teaching, by the way, Tao of the Divine Disruptor, which has been awesome. We started this in April, and we've been going throughout the whole year. And I was like, well, I need to, of course, keep my commitments to my people, but my heart isn't in this. My heart isn't in it. My mind's not even in it. I am off somewhere else. I am in la la land. I am not focused. I know I'm supposed to create this content, but I felt like I was just dialing it in. I felt like I was just calling it in. I wasn't fully in presence. All the tools that I tried to dig out of my spiritual toolbox, nothing was working. It was a bad place. And for me, I'm not even going to call it a dark night of the soul, because we were way past that. We were way past that. Like, here's your dark night of the soul, and here's where I was. I was at spiritual rock bottom. I'm just going to say it. And I have no shame in talking about this at all, because I need to be honest and forthright about where I was in order to illustrate to you and share with you how I got out of it and where I went. Okay? And this happens to the best of us, by the way. So please don't be deluded by the people who have an online presence that everything's hunky-dory and everything's the best Instagram filter and Facebook filter. I am using a Facebook filter right now, by the way, because it's the brightest one, because my office is kind of a little dark this time of day. And also, I don't mind that my skin glows a little bit. But don't be deluded by those coaches that make it seem that everything's hunky-dory all the time, and I'm just making millions, doing what I love and doing what I do, and I never hit a speed bump. It's a lie. Okay? It's a lie. And there are, you know, people who flow with that energy really well. We all hit our speed bumps, right? We all have our challenges. But for me, at this particular time, normally before, when I had hit these slumps, I could get myself out of it very quickly. I'm very good at turning my energy around really quickly. But this was beyond anything I'd ever experienced. It was ugly, and it lasted for months. So it started around November of 2021, because I remember it was like the week after Thanksgiving that things just really started to slow down. My energy shifted and everything got funky. And then it took me through basically the end of March of this year to start bringing it around. Well, no, I'm going to say April. I'm going to say April, because I had already started my Tao of the Divine Disruptor mentorship. And I remember when I had started that in April, I was still funky. I was still funky. And it made me feel like a fraud. It made me feel like an imposter, that here I was, helping people through this experience, which all the tools that I have and everything I was teaching, I've taught it so many times that I could still be in the presence enough to bring it in and share it. But at the same time, I just felt like full on in imposter energy. I felt like a total fraud. I felt like a liar. This is hard for me to share this. I'm a Capricorn, guys. So I really like it when I, have that aura of being the expert. I really like it when I have that energy of being the boss, of someone that knows, of someone that's been around for a while, of someone that has the answers. I like presenting that aspect of myself. And there is a true and authentic aspect of myself that is that. But at this time in my life, I was just calling it in. I was pretending. And I did want to keep my commitments to the people in my community. Because if I sign up for something, I expect the person I sign up with, because it's a trust thing. Here's my money, now you deliver the good stuff. And so that is an exchange that I take very seriously in my work. People had paid their money. We had, set up meetings. We've had groups, all that stuff, the mentorship, my classes, my courses, all of those things I felt very, very committed to. And I was not going to back out of that. But I wasn't fully present. And a lot of my energy was, woe is me, pity party. What the fuck am I doing? I'm just going to go work at McDonald's. Okay. So around the time of March, I started to really just say, fuck it. Like, as my antidote, or what I thought was the antidote to this energy, was I was so entrenched in the mental matter, so much in masculine energy of trying to push and force and like just get up and do the work, push yourself through it. You made a commitment, be productive, figure it out, try to figure it all out. But the more I pushed, the more I tried to force, the more I tried to hustle anything, the more I tried to make things happen and figure it out, the worse everything got. So I reached that breaking point. I reached that spiritual rock bottom, and I was like, you know what? Fine. I let go. I surrender. I give up. Uncle, I'm not going to figure anything out. I'm just done. I'm going to let this just empty out completely. Everything I think I have to do, everything that I think I have to figure out, where I need things to make sense, I'm going to let it all go. I'm going to surrender it all. And it was in that moment of softening and letting go and fully surrendering and just emptying myself of everything that I thought I had to be because of what I built up over, decades of doing this work. The identity I created for myself as the boss or the expert, the one who knows about this and the one who shares about that. I let it all go. I let it all go. And I spent a lot of time meditating, walking in the woods, playing with my dog, talking to friends that I haven't spoken to in a while, being alone a lot, just tuning out from everything, showing up for my commitments in my business when I had to, because I had to make some money, but just doing the bare minimum with that and spending the rest of the time restoring and replenishing myself. And it was through a complete softening, it was through a complete surrender that I did this. And there was a moment, and I wasn't really sleeping very well. And there was a moment, and I think it was coming off of like 5 days with no sleep, maybe sleeping 3 to 4 hours a night. So, over a week, probably having slept 20 hours max. I was lying in bed, taking a deep breath in, closing my eyes, and I was like, well, maybe I'll sleep tonight if I'm lucky. And a voice came to me and said, remember who the fuck you are. And that was it. That was it. And I was like, what? And it didn't sound like my voice. It was disembodied. It was like someone was whispering in my left ear, which is weird for me because I'm very clairaudient. And I actually, when I have messages, it's usually whispered in my right ear. When I first started doing Reiki, that's how I would know where to place my hands and where to direct the energy when I used to do in-person Reiki. It was like a whispering in my right ear, but this was a different voice. And it was whispering in my left ear. Remember who the fuck you are. And I was like, what? And I sat up in bed. I remember this very, very vividly. I sat up in bed and it took me by surprise, and I felt this charge in my energy, like a high voltage jolt that went from the tips of my toes all the way up to the top of my head and up and out. And it just felt like someone had plugged me back in. That's what it felt like. It felt like someone had plugged me back in. And just all this flood of information just came in, and it was like just a massive, I call it a blockchain download. Blockchain download is the feeling like someone plugs you in, and that you're the perfect receptive energy. It's like you're a radio station before that can't get a good signal. And then all of a sudden you get plugged back in and someone turns the dial and you're on that radio signal, and it's a static free broadcast and transmission. And then it's just like all the information, all the talking, all of the wisdom, everything that I was trying to figure out, I was suddenly available for. But the only reason why is because I'd emptied myself. And I realized that the only reason I was available for that broadcast, for that transmission, to be plugged back in, is because I had let go, is because I had surrendered, is because I had softened. And then something happened that when I did go to sleep that night, and when I woke up the next day, there was a feeling of, look how supported you are. You think that you don't have the resources to do what you want to do next, or deliver in the way that you want to deliver to your community and really expand and evolve and hit that next threshold or echelon. It's not about the resources. It's about the creativity. And the creativity can't be there if you're trying to push and hustle and force and figure it all out and have it all make sense. It's so imbalanced. Yes, the masculine energy of producing and being productive and doing the work and taking that inspiration and doing something with it in a practical, tangible way in the 3D world of form, that is necessary. But that's where all your energy was going. You need to soften. You need to realize that every resource that you're asking for is there already, but you're not making yourself available for it because you're not allowing yourself to receive it. And then it all came in. Every single way I was pushing away that which was trying to come to me, because I still had feelings of, I'm not allowed to have it. I don't deserve this. Remember that thing that I did 10 years ago to that friend? I'm not allowed to have that. I don't deserve it. I'm not a good person. All the things that I had not forgiven myself for or not forgiven other people for, it's like I became this like sieve or this filter, and it all just kind of washed through me. And as it washed through me, I was aware of every single piece of where I had this resistance, these blocks where I was pushing all of the resources away. It's not that everything wasn't coming to me. Everything was coming to me. But I was not an open receptacle. I was not allowing myself to receive the support and the nourishment that was already there. I was pushing it away. I was pushing it away. It was really hard because I had thought, well, I thought I was open. I thought I was available. It's like, didn't I just teach this course about in alignment? But the thing is, after teaching that course 3 times, all of that stuff came up for me. The things that I wasn't dealing with or confronting or truly interfacing with in the most honest and authentic way, because I taught that program 3 times, like all this stuff just came up, but I kept pushing it away. And I was like, wait a minute, no, I'm the expert. No, this stuff, that's not me. I'm getting it from the collective. It's the people in the program. It's not me. Yeah, right. It absolutely was me. But I was saying, no, I'm the expert. I'm the one that teaches this stuff, so I'm above all this. Talk about self-delusion, right? So it all came in. It all came in. And so then I realized, one by one, I'm going to tackle these things. And if I don't, what is it costing me? It's costing me my authenticity. It's not allowing me to put my money where my mouth is. It's not allowing me to be a genuine and honest, authentic teacher and mentor. It is costing me my next threshold. Because what also came in with that was everything that you're asking for, this next level, this next spectrum or bandwidth that you want to be able to hold and sustain, that allows the growth of my life in a positive, wave of evolution, the growth of my business in a positive wave of evolution. That was all hanging in the balance and was all dependent on me letting go of these old themes, these old patterns, these old identities, these old ways of thinking about myself. These old feelings of, I'm really good at, it's like middle child stuff too, so I gotta be declarative about that. That feeling of I'm always in the middle. So I'm aware that there's people who are coming around to this thing, but then there's people who are way above me, and I'm always going to be stuck in the middle. I had to clear that up. The feelings I had about myself, about shit that I hadn't cleaned up with my parents, those mother and father wounds that I didn't think I had. I thought they were, these are themes that are coming up from my clients. No, it was mine. I had to own it. I had to fully own it. So one by one, I was tackling all of these things and just stripping away. Like, just getting into this kind of flow of release and renew, release and renew, release and renew, and getting this flow with it. And instead of going, oh no, another layer, another piece of shadow, I was just like, no, it makes sense that here's this other layer. I cleared this layer, so here's what's underneath that, and here's what's underneath that, and here's what's underneath that, like an iceberg, right? And I just made peace with, if this is how I want to serve my community, like really stepping up, really being an open and free, available receptacle to not only support and nourish myself, but to support and nourish my communities in bigger and better and more evolved ways, more dynamic ways than I ever have before, then this is what it entails. I gotta let it all go. Everything that came before, I gotta let it all go. So piecemeal, little by little, and this was, it took a long time. I'm still doing it, but I've developed a kind of flow with it and a recognition of when those new layers are coming up. And instead of trying to butt heads with it and force it or push it out of the way because I got work to do, so I can't do that, I embrace it and understand that it is part of the work I'm here to do. And that changed everything. So that there was more of a flow of ease and grace with the removing of the layers of shadow, rather than, oh, fuck, another layer? God, when are we going to be done? That was also masculine thinking of, I got too much to do. I can't be bogged down by this. Where it's extremely a feminine energy to soften and say, okay, why are you here? Why are you here now? What do you want to tell me? I'm open. I'm listening. And when I softened like that, it became this process of seeing where I was not loving myself. And wherever you don't love yourself, you don't trust yourself. And wherever you don't trust yourself, you don't allow yourself to receive. And I realized that a lot of what I was talking about when I would talk about embodied divine feminine was just lip service. That I was maybe regurgitating things that I had taught for years, but I wasn't really feeling it. I wasn't really living it. I was just talking about it, which is another thing entirely. And so I got really real with myself, and I was like, where am I not allowing myself to receive nourishment? Where am I not allowing myself to receive support? Whether it's financial, whether it's love. At that time, I was really closed off from my husband too, because I wasn't loving myself. So how could I receive love from anyone outside of me? I wasn't really listening to other people. You know why? Because I wasn't really listening to myself. There was money trying to come to me from everywhere, but I didn't feel I deserved it. Because there was a part of me that still felt like broken, that needed fixing. I had to get up to this level before I could allow myself to receive. And so with that veil, I couldn't see all the things in my life that were already nourishing me, that were already supremely supportive. I couldn't see it. I couldn't appreciate it. I was completely blind to it. And the softening then took me into, God, the sun is on my face today. Isn't this wonderful? I can just play with my dog for 2 hours if I want to, and take a really long extended hike if I want to. And I have that freedom. Isn't that cool? That I've built up a life that has freedom rolled into it, a lot of it. And I couldn't even appreciate that before. And then I just started to appreciate just all the little things, and I started to have this kind of compounding effect with it. Oh my God, I have this beautiful octopus mug that my husband bought me. Just like the little things, and I was like finally able to be like present with all of it. I was able to be present with, look at this house that we got in a time of a major housing crunch, in a time where we had to flee a wildfire. Look at the support that was here for us in a totally different state that we had never lived in before, having left California, and how everything kind of seamlessly fell into place with that. And I did kind of appreciate it. I felt like a sanctuary here, certainly after fleeing a wildfire in August of 2021, but I wasn't fully appreciating it. I wasn't fully with that energy. And so then I started to gradually build myself back up. You could call it recreating, reinventing. That's what I would call it. It was like a reinvention. And I started looking at, the reason why the things that would normally make me money or working in my business before, the reason those things aren't working out is because I'm not lit the fuck up by it anymore. I've outgrown it. And when I keep trying to push and do those things, the reason why it's not working is because I don't love it. I might be good at it because I've taught it, And, like a tenured professor at a university teaches economics year after year and drones on class after class. That was how it was starting to feel for me. And I wasn't lit up by the work. And so in this softening, in this reinvention, I really looked at something that I now call the platinum standard, and I created it. I mean, I didn't really create it. I could say I discovered it, but I call it the platinum standard. And I realized that if I'm going to really reinvent myself and go all in here, and I wasn't going to do it half-assed, I wasn't going to go halfway. I was like, I'm going all in here, and I got to step up because it's go time, and I know that. And for me especially, because I'm here to do big things, and I'm here to hold big energy. And the reason why I felt like I was forcing and pushing is because I kept trying to shrink myself to fit into small spaces that I had outgrown. So then I had to create a new marker, a new threshold, a new echelon, a new standard. And I call it the platinum standard. What you're brilliant at, what you love to do, and what makes you money. I was like, that's juicy. That's good. What does that look like for me? What I'm brilliant at, what I love to do, meaning what lights me the fuck up to teach it, where I have the know-how to talk about it and teach it, because I trust myself as a channel. I mean, I'm talking to you from the heart right now, but I go in and out because I'm a conscious embodied channel. So that means I go in and out. Where some of this comes from me because I'm talking about my experience and I'm talking from the heart, my heart to yours, but it comes through me as a conscious embodied channel. And when I teach, when I create content, when I share my work in group containers and one-to-one, I am doing it as an embodied conscious channel, meaning I'm plugged in all the way. And I'm receiving, so the information comes through me rather than from me. And I'm brilliant at that. I really am. And I wasn't giving myself credit for that. To be that open and that available. And I had a lot of blocks. I had a lot of obstacles at the time. So I wasn't being a fully embodied conscious channel. I was only like a halfway embodied conscious channel because I was so full of my own bullshit. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go back to that. I'm going to keep going through this process, this clearinghouse energy of just getting rid of everything that is not authentic to me. The thoughts and the feelings and the things I used to believe about myself, the patterns, the programs, all that shit. None of that is real. It's all an illusion. That little voice in my head that tells me I'm not worthy, that I don't deserve this, that I'm a bad person, that I'm not a good daughter, blah, blah, blah. All of that, these are lies. None of that is real. And it was about deciding I'm going to do what I'm brilliant at, which is being a pure, conscious, embodied channel and letting the information come through me. When I'm doing that, I am lit the fuck up. I love it. I love it. The things that I've created of real integrity, of lasting power, have been done that way. Timelines Expanded Masterclass, great example. That information does not come from me. It does not come from me. It comes through me. It came through me. 12 modules of it. It's big stuff. There's no way that could come from me. And the times that I was fully open and pure and available, I was a free and open channel, allowing that information to come through me with ease, without obstacles, without obstruction. And over time, I'd let myself become a clogged up channel because of my own bullshit that wasn't real. I forgot who the fuck I was. I forgot what I'm brilliant at. I forgot what lights me up. And what made me money before, and I was looking at, well, I just got to get through this, so I'll just go back to the stuff that I was teaching before because it made me money. But then that same voice in my head that said, remember who the fuck you are, was saying, that's not in alignment. Here you are saying you want to be an open channel. Here you are saying that you want to be pure, you want to be authentic, you want to be genuine, that you want to be lit the fuck up. But then you're scurrying back to this little corner you used to put yourself in. You're scurrying back to this little small contracted space that's really claustrophobic. And so you're trying to pretend that that's just going to make you money. That's not what's going to make you money. And so I was like, okay, all right, you're right. I'm not going to shrink to those confined spaces anymore. I'm not going to do that. And it was a trust that what I was ready to move into was that platinum standard. What I'm brilliant at, what I love to do, and what makes me money. And so I was like, even if I have to dismantle and deconstruct everything that I'm doing, even if I have to blow shit up, which I did, I blew some shit up. I got rid of a lot of programs. I went through my member vault and I was like, am I lit up by this? Am I brilliant at it? I'm good enough at it because I've taught it enough, but does it light me up? Is it going to make me money? Well, it won't make me money if I'm not brilliant at it and it doesn't light me the fuck up. Because those three things, the platinum standard, it's like a triangulation of energy. To make the money that I was really asking for and move into that next threshold and level of support financially, I had to completely honor and trust in that platinum standard. And that was a standard I created for myself. It's a standard I now create for my community in Lotus Throne Initiation. The platinum standard. And I was like, if I want to go all in, that's my carrot. That's my dangling carrot. That platinum standard. And I'm only available for that. So when that clarity and focus came in, I got to look at, okay, what am I doing or what had I been doing in my business that doesn't match that? And then it became very easy. That doesn't match it. That's not aligned with it. That doesn't match it. Bye. I had a bonfire 2 Saturdays ago in my backyard, and I burned up more than half of my old notebooks. And those of you who know me and have followed me for a while, been in my community and been in my orbit, you know I'm all about the drugstore notebooks, and I have pages and pages of these notebooks, filled with stuff. Every single person I've done DNA activation for, it's all in here. All their notes, everything that I've, shared with them in the readings and the activations, class notes for many programs that I've taught, everything is in here. I went through some of the notebooks, a lot of the notebooks, that were things that I had taught, and even though there was good information in there, the old version of me would have been like, I can't get rid of that. I might need that again. Okay. Well, if I'm not trusting myself to be a conscious embodied channel, that whatever I need, the resources are already there, maybe I'm not trusting myself to be really a truly complete and open embodied conscious channel, so that whatever needs to come through to benefit my community, to serve my community, it will come through. So hoarding these notebooks, holding on to these notebooks for stuff that is not meeting my platinum standard anymore, they gotta go. Just like the old patterns and programs and the thoughts and beliefs in my head had to go, these were physical, tangible representations that had to go also. It was like a clean sweep and a decluttering. Because it's all about making myself available to receive. It's all about creating the capacity to receive the nourishment and the support that's already there. And if I'm acting out of alignment with that, then I'm not fully receiving. Then I'm not fully open and in that capacity and available to receive. So everything had to match. The energetics inside and then the physical reality outside. They had to match up. They had to align. And so it was this kind of clearinghouse energy, and it actually felt really good. I was doing physical decluttering of my entire house, and I am a minimalist by nature. I don't like a lot of stuff. You know, getting rid of clothes, donating stuff, cleaning out my kitchen, cleaning out my pantry, my larder, my the shelves. I've only been here a year. I haven't accumulated a lot of stuff, but there was still stuff that it was like, it'll go. It'll go because I don't need it. And it feels good to let go, because that makes me more available for the next level I'm here to receive. I have the capacity to take in everything I'm asking for. And here's this beautiful inversion of energy. The more you let go, and the more you strip down, whether it's physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, the more you let go, the more open you are to receive your intuitive guidance, the more capacity you create to receive that which is aligned with your next level, your next evolution of energetics, that bandwidth of energy you're meant to hold. If there is a hoarding energy in you in any way, shape, or form, whether it's holding on to stuff that's physical or stuff that's mental, there are going to be obstacles. You're going to have a really hard time. And also, there's another part. You have to be honest with yourself about where you're creating a negative vision. And the negative vision, we talk about this in Lotus Throne Initiation, and there are two primary ways that it shows up, but one of the ways that we create a negative vision, we don't even realize we're doing it. Instead of having a positive vision that takes us further into our natural evolution of growth and expansion, we create a negative vision. We don't even know we're doing it a lot of the time. We say, well, I want money. Why do you want money? Because I feel poor. I want love. I want a soulmate partner. Why do you want a soulmate partner? Because I don't feel lovable. I want a booming business with lots of clients who see me and love me and, oh, they just love me so much. Why do you want that? Because I feel invisible. That's a negative vision. So the reason you want the things that you want to manifest and create, they're not pure. It's a negative vision. They're not pure because the reason you want it is compensating for a false belief that you have about yourself. And I had to get really honest with myself because I felt really invisible. And if that's your issue, you feel like, oh, it's the algorithm and no one sees my Facebook posts. It is the algorithm a little bit. I'm not going to lie about that, right? We have more ads on Faceplace than ever before. But, you know, my big thing was like, I just feel like I want to do all this stuff and I really want to be seen and I want to be taken seriously. And it's like, well, who's not seeing you? Who's not taking you seriously? Me. I wasn't seeing myself. I wasn't seeing myself in my life as being supported and nourished right where I'm at right now. Having all the resources that I need. I wasn't seeing myself in a way where I could fully love myself. Perceived faults and all. Who was I invisible to, ultimately? Myself. So of course the energetics were going to match up in my external reality, where I would make that assumption or, create that definition for myself that no one's seeing me, I'm invisible. Who am I really invisible to? Where am I not willing to see myself? Where am I not willing to see how I'm so supported and nourished? Where am I not willing to see I have all the resources I'm already asking for? Where am I not willing to see, well, where I have all these things that I can appreciate and love and grow from in my life because I got a solid foundation to build from now? Where am I not willing to see shadow themes that were still making up a false aspect of my personality and who I thought I was? Where was I not willing to see? It felt like a really ugly, inorganic connection that I had with myself. And so I had to get honest and get down in the nitty-gritty and down in the muck and the mire, roll around in the mud with myself for a while. And I'm not going to say that it was easy to confront myself with that level of honesty, because I don't think, to be fair, I've ever really done that with myself before. Not to that degree. But when I got on the other side of it, and I'm still like it's like climbing a really tall fence and getting on the other side of it eventually. I'm still there. I'm still climbing down like a few of those chain links on that fence. But I know myself better now than I think I ever have before. I'm willing to completely see and be open to all the shadow themes that I kept like trying to push down. Say, oh, that's not me. I'm the expert. That's not me. I'm the boss. I'm the one that knows this stuff through and through. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. I'm willing to embrace and love myself in ways that I simply was not available to before. And I'm willing to hold myself up to a standard, and this is huge for me. I'm willing to hold myself up to this platinum standard without saying, oh, you're not there yet, so you're not good enough. That perfectionist and stickler energy that I grew up with and have had for a really long time, where if I'm not there yet, wherever there is, because that's a nebulous and totally unlocalized place, there. Your success, the end result of your ambitions, that achievement, whatever it is, because that road, it keeps going. It keeps going because we are of an infinite nature. So, evolution and expansion over time, instead of thinking that, oh, I'm over here, but I gotta be over there. And until I'm over there, man, I'm a disappointment to myself. That was me for a really long time. And the hardest thing about this year that I had to realize about myself at the beginning of this year was settling into this reality. And that was, I was a disappointment to myself. Ouch. And that's middle child stuff too. Feeling like I was a disappointment to myself because I'm over here and I want to be over there. So until I get over there, wherever the fuck that is, I got to continue to be in that aspect where I was a disappointment to myself. And when you're in that energy, you could have the most incredible support and nourishment and nurturing in your life, but you're not going to be able to see it. You're not going to allow yourself to experience it. And you might pay lip service to gratitude, like have your little gratitude list of 5 things that you write every morning when you get up, but you're not going to really feel it. It's just going to be like, yeah, this is what I do. I'll do the gratitude thing, and then I can make the money I need to make and whatever. But you're not lit the fuck up. You're not inspired. You're not doing what you're brilliant at. You're going to try to go back to what made you money before or what worked before. And there you are again, shrinking, contracting to try to fit into those small spaces. When, if we're honest, those of us who are really here to be of service and we're not just, talking the talk, we're going to walk the walk. If you're really here to be of service, it's go time. It's time to step up. and move beyond the derivative. When you go into that place where you're in denial of your platinum standard, and those of you who are just joining me, hello, welcome, thank you for being here. The platinum standard, once again, is, please go back and listen to the beginning, because I talk about a lot here that's really going to help you out if you're stuck right now. Platinum standard, again, that which you're brilliant at, what lights you up, and also makes you money. It's a triangulation. If you can picture it in your mind as the platinum standard is this beautiful triangle of energy. And they all feed each other. It's like a counterclockwise matrix that's created, and all those energies feed each other in really wholesome and very genuine and authentic ways. So the platinum standard. If we're really asking to evolve into this next threshold, it's the platinum standard or nothing. Because we need to be nourished. We need to feel that we are so supported, so nourished, so nurtured, and we have to know it, not believe it. The thing I'm saying to the women in my Lotus Throne initiation all the time, beliefs change like the wind. Knowing is eternal. And we're asking to go into the knowing. This is a direct perception of reality, not a filtered perception of reality that comes through ego. And the lens that we look, the very murky lens that we look out at the world through when we're in ego, is not a direct perception of reality. It is a filtered perception of reality based on all these programs, these patterns, these thoughts, these beliefs that are a false projection of who we think we are, based on a period of time that's long gone. And anytime we think of ourselves in those veins, we're just going back to the past. We're going back to that memory, back to that trauma, back to that wounding. And we're saying, this is who I am. That's going to keep you shrinking and contracted and going back to those small spaces. And not because you think there's anything there, really, but more because you think, well, this is all I know. No. When you allow yourself a direct perception of reality, which is a knowing, it's a knowing, it is a knowing, not a belief, it is a knowing. I already have everything I need. I'm already so nourished. I'm already so supported. I am a thread of source. I'm an individuated consciousness, beam of light that is source. I am it. It is me. That separation you might feel when things aren't going right, or when you start thinking you're that same person you were 5 years ago, or you're that same wounded child, that same wounded woman in a marriage that was falling apart, that same traumatized person at the hands of the abuse from someone else. Every time you go back to that and you think that is you, that is not a direct perception of reality. Your direct perception of reality is that you know you are so deeply held, so deeply supported, so deeply nourished. And everything you want to create that is authentic and genuine and creative, meaning beyond the derivative, not something you created in the past and you go back to because it made you money. That's derivative. That's not stepping up into this next threshold. Being truly creative and tapping into your genius frequency that comes from having a direct perception of reality. That is you. That is you. That's real. And I'm not asking you to believe it. I'm asking you to know it. Beliefs change like the wind. Knowing is eternal. Think of how much your beliefs have changed since 2020, since March of 2020, where we all know what happened. We watched collective beliefs change. Your personal beliefs changed. This was a triggering event. And yes, it did serve the ascension process. Some people might find that to be a controversial point of view. So be it. Beliefs change like the wind. Knowing is eternal. So it has to be a knowing that you're deeply nourished. You're deeply supported. Everything that you will create that is authentic to your genius frequency and your true high-level creative nature will come from that energy. Nothing less. So where do you have to create that shift? Where do you have opportunities to create that shift for yourself right now and to remember who the fuck you are? That you are so, so supported. That you are so, so nourished already, right where you're at. Not at some lofty, unnamed, unlocated place in the future of, I'm here, but I want to be over there, and then I'll be nourished. No, it doesn't work that way. And if you keep setting yourself up for that, you'll be creating that negative vision I talked about, where you're constantly compensating for where you feel incomplete. That's a negative vision. You'll always be in this liminal space, and you can create things from there, but here's the thing. The things that you create from a negative vision do not have lasting power. They just don't. Because when you're in that energy of, well, I'm here and then my life will be complete and I'll have nourishment and I'll be supported when I'm over there, you are in a false matrix. Because you're coming from an energy of lack. Lack is not a real construct. Lack is not a direct perception of reality. Lack is from a filtered perception of reality based on the ego's needs to orient itself to who you used to be. But you're not that person. You might be trying to be when you keep trying to scurry back and shrink into those small spaces. But those of you who are really asking to level up and evolve, you got to get honest with yourselves. And I'm not telling you something you don't already know. You know when you're shrinking to fit those small spaces. You know when you're contracting. You know when you're kind of running home to mama, so to speak. And that feeling that you want to be safe. Like, ooh, I want to do this thing and feel so big, but ooh, I'm not the person to do that. I don't deserve that. I'm not like that other person that I see online or that other coach, or I haven't been around the industry that long. Shrinking and contracting to fit in small places that you've outgrown. And yeah, you're going to have to get brutally honest with yourself, because here's the thing. You are your own rescue. You are your own lifeline. And that lifeline comes when you know, not believe, when you know that you are deeply supported, deeply held, compassionately witnessed by the divine, deeply supported, deeply nourished, deeply nurtured, right where you're at right now. Because if you can't embrace that, fully recognize it, fully know it, fully appreciate it, how do you expect the universe to collaborate with you to bring you more of what you already don't appreciate? Right? Does that make sense? You guys are really quiet here. Does that make sense? How do you expect the universe to co-create and collaborate with you and manifesting more of what you don't appreciate or know that you're nourished by right now? That is an unrealistic expectation. It's fantasy. You're playing a game with yourself, and it's one that you don't win. You don't. And you can manifest things from this place of ego's needs. People do it all the time, right? but it doesn't have staying power. And here's the other thing that I want to impress upon you in this talk before I close out here. In the beginning of this talk, I mentioned being in this industry, in the spiritual marketplace, for some time now. And I have watched people come and go from this space. I have seen people come in like gangbusters and, make a shit ton of money. And these programs are going to be able to be, available to you forever. And I'm going to be around forever. And then gone. Not in integrity. Not in integrity. Not imbued with staying power. And I've seen people come in with a slow trickle, kind of just barely get a small community of people, around them, followers, signing up for their freebies, doing stuff, and then build themselves up, incremental growth and evolution over time, staying power, integrity, being in service and of service, not in servitude, because we don't work for free. Our time, our energy, the value we bring needs to have a commensurate matching value. So we charge for our services, right? Old paradigm is alms for the poor. I'll help you out. I'll give of my time and my energy and deplete myself so completely so that you can have a better life. Because that's all that matters. Old paradigm. We're done with that. Please don't let anyone shame you or guilt you for charging for your services, because you're charging for your expertise, all the research that you've done, the courses you've invested in, the time and energy that you've devoted to this energy. Hey, Crystal. Don't let anyone guilt or shame you about charging for your services. And if you're in that place, these are not your people. Value is subjective. Some people come to me and they're like, oh my God, Kathryn, you're so cheap. Some people have come to me and okay, I kind of take that as a compliment. And then some people come into my world and they're like, I can't afford you. Are you kidding me? You charge this for that? You're never going to please everybody, so don't even try. You got to stay in integrity for you. You have to know the value of what you offer, right? So I've seen people come and go. But there is a core foundation of integrity for those people who have staying power. And when I'm talking about stepping up, expanding in and out, leveling up, that it's go time, for those of us who are here, I'm not going anywhere. When I joked in this call about flipping burgers at McDonald's when I hit my spiritual rock bottom, there was no way I was going to do that. There was no way I was going to do that. And it was a way I got to play with myself and stay in my pity party a little bit longer. But what else am I going to fucking do? This is who I am. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. And at this point, at this level of investment with my time devoted to this work, I can't imagine doing anything else. I was talking with my husband the other day about, he's like, when I retire, I'm like, well, you might retire. I was like, I'll have you come work for me, but I retire from this. I'll be teaching workshops and retreats when I'm in my 80s and 90s, hopefully. Staying power. That's right, Crystal, you feel that? Staying power. Those of us who are stepping up and really feeling this call of go time, it's not like we want to be a flash in the pan. We want staying power. Because we are just at this kind of cresting wave of this process of ascension and elevating the consciousness of individuals, but of the collective on the planet as well. We're at this kind of cresting wave. And that wave is going to go out to sea and pull more people back into shore. And that wave is going to go out to sea and pull more people into shore. And these are opportunities for all of us who have staying power, are committed to staying power, to serve more and more people over time. Here's the thing. With this staying power, we have an opportunity to create true leadership. So those of us who are really feeling the call to step up, I think there's a common theme here. And I'm seeing it a lot in my peers. All the ladies that I share this beautiful work with, Crystal included, Anne included, Maria included, Jante included, we all have a kind of common denominator. And that is, I don't think we're so I'll speak for myself here, but I see this resonating in a lot of you as well. I'm not so interested in having a bunch of followers. You know, and I know we call it that in the online space and in social media, and having followers. Like, I don't care if I have 10,000 followers. I really don't. I don't. Because for me, stepping up is to cultivate and foster other leaders, to help them avoid the pitfalls that I very messily created for myself, so that other people can avoid those pitfalls and just step up into what they're here to do. And to do so in a way where you understand there's more than one way to skin a cat. You don't have to have 10,000 followers. You don't have to build funnels. You don't have to create tripwires. I hate that stuff. I hate it. I have had business coaches tell me, well, if you want to level up, you want to do this and that, it's got to be this way. No, it doesn't. Because one of the things that I figured out, and it was part of my platinum standard, when I was reinventing myself and creating my business from a place of love and authenticity all over again, was this. I realized this. In order to be in that platinum standard for me, that means I'm going to do what I'm brilliant at, which is this right here. Just talking to you. Just talking to you. From my heart to yours, loving on you when I'm talking to you. Talking to you as someone that I don't even know you. There's some of you here, I don't know you yet. Welcome to my orbit. I love you. I love you. I want you to be a fucking success. I don't have feelings of competition. I don't think that exists. That is old paradigm. Trying to outshine, outdo, copy, any of that. I don't believe in any of that stuff. It doesn't exist. In my world, in my energy, ain't no such thing. There is leadership through sisterhood. Nah, I can get behind that. I can get behind that 1,000 fucking percent, 10,000 fucking percent. Leadership through sisterhood. That means showing up and talking to my sisters from the heart. Like, I love you. I want you to be a fucking success. I want to do what I can with the gifts and the endowments that I have, contribute to your success. Because we're not in competition with each other. I hate cattiness above women, all else. But what I hate more are funnels and tripwires. Do you know what a tripwire is? I mean, in marketing, it's where you create something where you get people to pay attention to what you're offering them and get your next level of what you're offering. Maybe they purchase something that's $27 and then you put them in a tripwire and there's a couple different things. They're like, purchase this and add on to that and add on to that. And if you're doing that, fine, have at it. If that feels good for you and you jibe with that, I'm not going to shit on whatever works for anybody else. For me, funnels, tripwires, and even though I've had business coaches who are like, if you want to level up, you need to do this shit. No, I don't. If I know that there's another way that's more authentic to me, that fits in with my platinum standard, then that's the way I'm going to find. And if I know an energetic exchange that is authentic trumps everything, any funnel, any tripwire. A tripwire is a trap. Tripwire is used to trap animals. I don't ever want to create the energy with someone that I come at them so much with the hard sell. They're like, oh, fuck, what does she want now? Okay, I'll just buy from her. No. I want it to align with your platinum standard. If you decide that you want to work with me, it's because I want to deepen into what I'm brilliant at. And I think Kathryn can help me with that. And I want to be lit the fuck up as I do it, meaning I help you deepen into elegant and simple solutions, because there's no more feeling of embodied feminine than that. Elegant and simple solutions. And if you know that, if you have a sense of that, then of course it exists. If you have a knowing that there's a different way, then there is. And this is one of the things, one of the gifts in the garbage, I like to call it, that came about from this spiritual rock bottom that I experienced, was when I was reinventing myself. I was like, I should build a funnel. I should have a tripwire. And then there was a part of me, the same part of me that was screaming in my left ear that night, no! It is so inauthentic to who I am. Again, if that works for you, you like funnels and stuff, I have 370 people on my email list. That's it. I don't care. I mean, I cultivate that list. I send guided meditations and do all those things and create invitations to come work with me. And I love my list. But I'm not hustling to get followers on there, to people who aren't aligned to work with me. And some people have been on my email list for years, have never bought a thing from me. That's okay. We still have an exchange. They're still getting something out of being in my orbit. And they may reach out every once in a while like, hey, I can't afford to work with you, but I really love what you shared. And, you know, this really hit me in a special way. So thank you very much. Cool. Maybe they'll buy from me at some point, but maybe they never will. And that's okay too. And then there's the people who I'm like, how did you find me? Oh, well, a friend shared this YouTube video and it was from 4 years ago and you were talking about this and I just felt like I had to work with you, and then they purchased a $1,000 VIP package with me. That happens too. Because for me, it's about the energetics. It's about the energetics. And sure, I could build a funnel, I could build a tripwire, and I could have all that stuff. But does it align with my platinum standard? No, the fuck it doesn't. And so you got to get honest with yourself about what your platinum standard is, what you're brilliant at, what you love to do, what lights you up, and it makes you money. And it's a beautiful triangulation of energy. And it works. It's pretty solid for me. What year was it? I'm not sure what that question is pertaining to, Crystal. My dark night of the soul, well, that's not even efficient a way of describing it. Spiritual rock bottom. This was the end of last year, right after Thanksgiving last year, and in through basically April of this year. So I've seen people come and go. Pardon me. But the ones that have staying power, they realize something really profound. That you get to do this work how you want to do it. You get to cultivate an energy around what you do that is very unique to you, that serves you, that nourishes you, and that if you want to really step up and nourish your community, people who are in your orbit right now, I want to ask you, how do you expect to nourish and support them if you're not allowing yourself the capacity to receive support and nourishment right where you're at right now? That you thought you needed the funnel. This was this year. I went back to this again. And I'm just like, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. It just feels really icky to me. It's not authentic to me. That's why. It's like, ugh. I'm repulsed by it. And whenever I find myself in someone's funnel, I just, opt out of that email. Because I don't like that feeling. I think that's very old paradigm. And if that's not your feeling around it, fine. I have no judgment on it. I'm just saying I have to do what's right for me. I have to do what's authentic to me. And if I just, follow what other people are doing, I'm not that person. I have always defied convention ever since I was a little kid. Why would I stop now? Right? So the platinum standard, staying power, your negative vision, these are all things that we go into in great depth and detail in the Lotus Throne Initiation. This program came out of everything I realized, everything I cultivated, all of the blockchain downloads of wisdom that I received, all contributed to the Lotus Throne Initiation. This has been a beautiful experience teaching this for the last 8 weeks now, and we're going through our last week here in this Lotus Throne Initiation, and the next round, version 2, starts in mid-November. So everything I'm sharing here, if this lights you up, if you want to create your platinum standard, if you want to create elegant and simple solutions to where you feel stuck, if you feel like you're throwing spaghetti at the wall, you're throwing everything at your business, but no results, you're shrinking to fit the spaces you've outgrown, and you've not yet made a full inventory of what it's costing you to do that, what it's costing your community. There are people right now who need your good stuff, who need you to step up into your next incremental phase of your evolution. And what is elegant and simple about this program is something that is at the core of this teaching. And it is a quote, and maybe you've heard it. Nature does not hurry, yet all things are accomplished. That is very much the ethos of this program. And there's 1 or 2 of you here right now who are in it, and maybe you can corroborate my assessment here that in this program, I'm only and ever asking you to build out your next step. I'm only asking you to have the presence and the fullness of your capacity to be with the next step. And in this kind of slowing down, you understand something very elegant and simple about the universe. Nature loves simplicity, and nature does not hurry, yet all things are accomplished. So even though it's this deepening experience over 8 weeks, and it may feel like a slow progression, what's really taking hold is that everything gets accomplished. Everything that makes up your external reality, the things that you want to move into, the things you want to create, those manifestations, those creations that are from a high level creative frequency and not derivative, that are aligned with your genius frequency, all of those things take hold, and very quickly. And it creates a momentum. It creates an acceleration. Because you are slowing down into presence and being just with the next step. And I think at the beginning, some of the ladies were like, well, shouldn't we be just building out 20 different things and doing all the stuff? No. Because that's not embodied divine feminine. That's masculine. But shouldn't we be doing all that? No. Slow down. Be with what is. Be with what's right in front of you. Because that's all that's real anyway. It's the ego's need to try to build everything out and figure out, well, if I do this next step, and then that has to happen, and then that has to happen, and then that next step has to happen. That's the ego. And it gets spun out in a million different directions, and you cast your energy in the future, which is not real, it's unwritten, it is complete hallucination. Future does not exist. Or you're casting your energy in the past. Well, this worked before. And this made me money before, so I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna do like another like tweaked version of that. Shrinking to fit small places you've outgrown. That's not gonna work either. You can only and ever be with what is real, and that's only what is right in front of you, facing you right now. That's all that's real. All else is illusory. All else is hallucination. Believe me when I tell you. And you will be confounded and frustrated to no end if you think it's anything else. And the ones who are really here to deepen into staying power, you must come to grips with this. You must embrace this. To be with what is presenting you next, right here, right in front of you. Anything after that is unwritten. Anything that came before that doesn't matter. Staying power. When you keep going back to the past, you create more of a negative vision for your future. It's not going to work. Those energetics do not match. It creates a slow, high frequency knowing of what is right in front of me. Yes, Shantae. Crystal says this is the hardest thing to learn and be with. But once you get it, once you deepen into it, elegant and simple. And I'm not going to say that it makes sense, because again, that's too rational, it's too linear, it's too masculine. Because what's right in front of you and what lights you up and what your platinum standard might be so new, so refreshing, so part of a new incremental energetic threshold for you that it's not going to make sense. But that doesn't mean it's not 100% aligned for you. It doesn't make sense because you're still figuring out from a linear ego perspective. Of course it's not going to make sense. You've never done it before. So that part of the brain that needs it to make sense, it's not going to jibe with that. But what we're really here to do, what we're here to deepen into, is not going to make sense. You're not going to figure it out. Not with the same linear masculine energy you have before. It's not going to work. It's going to fail you every single time. It's completely different energetic, a totally different spectrum and bandwidth of energy. It doesn't need to make sense. Let go of trying to figure it all out. It's not going to work. Not with this work. Not with this work. Elegant and simple, I can testify. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you for giving your language. You're welcome. You're welcome. So if you're called to this, if you want to know and deepen into the fact that you are supported, you are loved, you are nourished right where you're at right now, and when you open up your capacity to fully receive that, fully embrace it, and you have a slow burn with this energy, and you can really be with what is next. Savor it. Roll it around on your tongue like a fine wine that's $500 a bottle. If you can really be with your creations in this way, only then are you open up to your high-level creative frequency, where you allow yourself to explore truly creative enterprises instead of derivative regurgitations. It's different. We're here to do bigger stuff. This is an initiation into the New Earth Mystery School. We are graduating. Those of us who have staying power, we are graduating from the Old Earth Mystery School. And we're ready. Time to put on your little tasseled cap and come and join me in this space if you're called to it. So if you want to deepen into this a little bit more, I'm doing a workshop in my Visionaries, Luminaries, and Divine Disruptors group, and it is called Embody Your Vision, and it's going to be the 18th, 19th, and 20th of this month. If you want to join just the workshop, it's $44. It's going to be a 3-day workshop of deepening into what we're talking about here. We're going to talk about Platinum Standard, we're going to talk about negative vision, we're going to talk about staying power. If you are lit the fuck up right now, you remember who the fuck you are, and you want to get into Lotus Throne Initiation, we start in mid-November. There isn't an exact start date because I want to meet with all of you who are going to sign up, and we get together and we decide what the days are going to be, because we meet twice a week for 8 weeks. This is a deep container of acceleration. That's why we meet twice a week. One is the activation call in that week, and the other is the accountability call. Okay? And we do this for 8 weeks. The Lotus Throne Initiation has 5 spots left. You get Voxer coaching with me. You get a one-on-one 40-minute session with me, so we get to deepen into what you're working on in here. If you want to know more, I'm going to put the link for Lotus Throne so you can read more. If this sounds like it is for you and you are excited, come on in. The water's fine. Let me see if I can put it here. There it is. And you can always reach out to me on Facebook Messenger if you have questions, but check out that website first. I hope that this helped you to remember who you are. And I hope that you understand the reason why you're here, and even just here listening to this call, receiving this on a heart-to-heart level, that it allows you to remember what you're here to do, the service you're here to provide, the resonance that you're meant to hold as you do it, of being someone who is so supremely nurtured, nourished, and supported. I want you to deepen into this. I want you to have this. I want you to know what this feels like. I want you to come back to who you are and embrace that next level of who you're meant to deepen into. Thank you so much, ladies. It has been my pleasure. Mwah. If you want to watch this again, it'll be on my YouTube channel. And if you're in my groups, the replay will be in my groups. Bye-bye, everybody. Love and peace.